Radio News.
A very good afternoon to you and welcome to iRead News Bulletin. First, here are the headlines. The SPLM-IO has resumed its participation in the security mechanisms meetings following the signing of the unification of the command structure. Authorities in Lake State says 3 people have been killed in Ural East County by cattle raiders from a neighboring state. And the Juba City Council has proposed naming a street in Juba after Pope Francis ahead of his visit to the country in July this year. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Yar Ajak Deng, and all the news in detail. The SPLM-IO has lifted the suspension of its participation in the security mechanism meetings. It has also resumed its participation in the meetings of the reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, or RJMEC, and the National Transitional Committee. This came after the signing of the command structure agreement with the then incumbent government and South Sudan Opposition Alliance, or SOA, yesterday. The details of the long-awaited deal is not made public. My colleague Kafuki Jada has more.
Last month, the SPLA in opposition suspended its participation in the security mechanisms meetings over alleged attacks on its bases by SSPDF. The main peace party also suspended its meeting in the peace monitoring body, RJMEC. In a letter to the interim chair of RJMEC, the SPLA-IO said it's been presenting violations of sessions of hostilities agreement committed by the main peace partner since the beginning of peace implementation. It said that the violations are unprovoked attacks on the SPLA, SPLM-IO areas, cantonment sites, and the Unified Forces training centers. The areas the party cited are Morota Training Center in Kajukeji County, Kalijak Training Center in Robcon County, Turu Cantonment Site in Maiwid County, Lenjeng Cantonment Site in Maban County, Per Cantonment Site in Oror County. Others are Namatina Cantonment Site in Najero County, Mirmir Cantonment Site in Koj County, among others. The SPLA-IO argued with the attacks have resulted in the displacement of civilians and destruction of properties. It also said members of the former government attend most of the security mechanisms meeting irregularly and sometimes send officers who are not members of the security mechanisms. In the letter signed by the acting chief of general staff of the SPLA-IO, Gabriel Dop Lam, the group said it will not participate in any of RJMEC and security mechanisms meetings until the issues are resolved. In response, the SSPDF spokesperson denied the allegations. According to the revitalized peace agreement, no revenge, vengeance, or retribution in any kind of violation of the permanent ceasefire is allowed under the circumstance. It also stipulates that all parties shall refrain from offensive, provocative, or retaliatory action. These are thousands of SSPDF, SPLA-IO, and opposition alliance forces in various cantonment camps across the country, some of whom have chosen to leave the camps over the graduation. They have been at the training camps since 2019. About 53,000 forces are expected to graduate from the training camps. They include the Army, Police, and National Security, among others. The government, Troika countries, and civil society groups urge the main peace party SPLA-IO to rejoin the security mechanisms for the sake of peace in the country. Yesterday, 3 parties to the revitalized peace agreement agreed to the Sudanese proposed command structure. After the signing, the SPLM-IO announced its resumption in the participation of the security mechanisms meetings. The mechanisms include the Joint Defense Board, Joint Transitional Security Committee, Joint Military Ceasefire Commission, Citizen VM, as well as the National Transitional Committee and the RJMEC.
Thank you, Kafuki, for that report. Meanwhile, The Ethiopian Prime Minister has welcomed the deal between South Sudan's People parties in ending the stalemate on the command structure of the unified forces. The roadmap signed yesterday paved way forward on the implementation of the security arrangements of the revitalized peace agreements. In a statement published last evening by the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said, and I quote, "We welcome today's key agreement reached by President Salva Kiir and Vice President Dr. Riek Machar. Ethiopia stands in solidarity with South Sudan and continues to stand ready to support efforts towards lasting peace and development." End quotes. The revitalized peace agreement expects the unified forces to be 83,000. However, about 53,000 forces are expected to graduate from the training camps. They include the army, police, and the national security, among others. Authorities in Lake State say 3 people have been killed in Ural East County by cattle raiders from a neighboring state. The State Minister of Information said the gunmen attacked a cattle camp in the early hours on Friday last week. William Koji added that 4 people were also wounded and an unknown number of cattle were raided. He spoke to iRadio this morning.
The state generally is fine, except the incident where a criminal came and attacked one of the cattle camps in Ural East at night 4 a.m., where 3 people were killed, 4 others were injured, and some cattle were taken. They came from Penjar County of Unity State, and of course, the Commissioner of Penjar has been cooperating. I hope he will start arresting some criminals, and now he's gathering some of the illicit cattle. The report I got yesterday, and of course, Commissioner is there. Commissioner Penjar is somebody who ever cooperates.
iRadio was not able to reach Panjshir County Commissioner for comments. However, Lake State Minister of Information William Koji told iRadio that the incident was confirmed by authorities of Unity State. He said the Commissioner of Panjshir County told him that they arrested some suspects in connection with the incidents. The mayor of Juba City Council has proposed naming a street after Pope Francis ahead of his expected visit to the country this year. Michael Ladu Alajabu announced this during a blessing of the altar set to host the Holy Father Pope Francis. According to the Vatican, the papal 2-day visit to South Sudan is scheduled for July. He will first visit the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. The apostolic visit of the pontiff was delayed several times due to the security situation in the country. According to the mayor of Juba, his proposal is to honor Pope Francis for his support to South Sudan peace process. Alajabu said the proposal has been submitted to the state governor pending approval. He spoke to the media at Dr. John Garang Museum this morning.
I propose that if a road is to be named in his name, but I don't have powers in order to do that. But I forwarded the request written to my governor, His Excellency Emmanuel Adel Anthony. And at the same place, if he found that it is really genuine for us to do that to His Holiness, I think that would be referred also to His Excellency the President for the blessing. And we hope that the name is going to be given in that particular big road. That road is not short. It leads up to Simoni Jada Bridge. So it's a wider road which is good for His Holiness.
In April 2019 at Vatican Retreat, Pope Francis knelt and kissed the feet of President Salva Kiir, Dr. Riek Machar, Taban Denga, and Rebecca Nyandeng. He then urged them not to return the country to war. And finally, before the international news, a South Sudanese academician in Uganda has called on the government to improve the quality of basic education by employing qualified teachers with better pay. Dr. David Fuguyo, the Vice Chancellor of African Renewal University in Uganda, says a good number of South Sudanese students have done extremely well in Uganda. However, he says that poor foundation of basic education in the country has partly contributed to the low performance among South Sudanese students intending to study in the region. He was speaking in an exclusive interview to iRadio in Uganda capital Kampala.
There are South Sudanese who have extremely done very, very good or excellent. They have actually, scored good GPAs. Some of them close to 4. some of them 4 point something, close to 5, some of them 3 point something. There are also those who are really very poor. Speaking English is a problem, writing English is a problem. They say they completed senior 4, and sometimes we get to doubt that because the way they perform. And I have taught some of them, and I would look into what they write, and it doesn't make sense at all. Some of them have actually been put on suspension. Some of them have actually also been discontinued.
In January last year, a former U.S. envoy to South Sudan called for more investment in the education sector to allow children to have access to the service. According to the General Education Act of 2012, basic education must be free and compulsory to all children in the country. Dr. David Fugoyo also argued that South Sudan is yet to strengthen its basic education sector.
I think in South Sudan what we need to do is we just need to be very serious with education, not only in high school, but even from the kindergarten. This is why it starts. If you lose or if you miss the foundation you are supposed to have in education, it will be very hard for you to establish that foundation when you grow up or when you get to high school. So I would ask really our government and even people who are, owners of private schools in South Sudan to make sure that they hire people who are qualified to do the work they are doing. If you have qualified teachers and you pay them, I think they will do a good job, and that will be reflected in the kind of the people they will produce.
Dr. David Fugoyo has so far managed to offer scholarship to nearly 200 South Sudanese students to study various fields at the African Renewal University. He became the first South Sudanese Vice Chancellor in 2015 to lead a higher learning institution in the neighboring Uganda. You are listening to iRadio 1 o'clock news, and now to the international news. My colleague Lowell Nelson joins us, and this international news is brought to you by MTN.
One, 2, 3. 1 million. 2 million.
Yes. It's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. Are you? With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cards.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Jinubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you. A nationwide fuel shortage continues to bite in Kenya, with major towns reporting long queues at the few filling stations that have commodities. There are conflicting reasons as to why the shortage is being experienced. President Uhuru Kenyatta says it is due to the global crisis occasioned by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Elsewhere, clashes between armed men and security forces have been reported in the southern Ethiopian town of Mayale, close to the border with Kenya. Local officials told the BBC that the clashes occurred between Saturday evening and Sunday morning. The officials claimed the armed men were members of the rebel group Oromo Liberation Army, but did not disclose if there were any casualties. The incident is yet another indication of rising insecurity in the northern and the western part of the country. And finally, economist Rodrigo Chefs has won the presidential election in Costa Rica. Preliminary results suggest the 60-year-old ran on promise of shaking up traditional party politics in the Central African nation. With almost all votes counted, he had a lead of more than 5% points over ex-president Jose Maria Figueres. Turnout was the lowest in decades as the voters expressed discontent with Costa Rica's struggling economy. That's all what is making headlines in the region and international. Back to you in the studio. Reporting for iRadio, I am Lo Nelson.
Thank you, Lowell Nelson, for those international news. And now my colleague Emmanuel Joseph Akile joins us with the sports news.
Thank you, Yara Jack. We begin with locals. South Sudan Football Association and Qatar Football Federation have agreed to reactivate their Memorandum of Understanding or MOU that was signed in 2017. The move comes after President Agostino Madoud met with his counterpart Sheikh Hamad in Doha during the FIFA Congress. The MOU provides South Sudan Football Association with opportunity for capacity building in Qatar, including administration, coaches, referees, and media. Elsewhere, Kylian Mbappe scored twice and provided 3 assists as Paris Saint-Germain kept their 12-point lead at the top of League One with victory over Lorient. Neymar stroked in the opener and PSG's 5th, both from Mbappe through balls. Mbappe coolly drilled home in the first half and took his tally to 17 for the season with a rapsing finish before laying off for Lionel Messi's goal. Former Manchester United manager Louis van Gaal says he is receiving treatment for prostate cancer. The Dutchman, currently in charge of the Netherlands national team, made the announcement on Dutch TV program on Sunday. Van Gaal, 70 years, said he had kept the news from his players during the recent international break. And finally, Pedri scored a brilliant second-half goal as Barcelona beat Sevilla to move up to second in La Liga and keep their title hopes alive. After a goalless first half, the 19-year-old midfielder showed great composure on the edge of the box to thump a shot into the bottom corner. Sevilla had a penalty in the first half when Anthony Martial's shot hit Ronald's arms. But Barcelona were better side as Gerard Piqué also hit the post. That's all from the world of sports, and back to you, Yara Jack.
Thank you, Akile, for those sports news. And now to end this 1 o'clock news bulletin, here is a recap of the main headlines again. The SPLM-IU has resumed its participation in the security mechanisms meeting following the signing of the unification of the command structure. Authorities in Lake State says 3 people have been killed in Ural East County by cattle raiders from a neighboring state. And the Juba City Council has proposed naming a street in Juba after Pope Francis ahead of his expected visit in the country this year, July. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can also get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alert on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700-700# and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 970. It is also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel iRadio South Sudan, and watch our comprehensive interviews. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Yar Ajagdeng. Thank you for listening.